Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I want to talk about robotaxis because they're apparently a threat to the president, or at least the VP in this case, although she may be president at some point. Now, here's what's going on. A Waymo robotaxi got stuck making a U-turn in front of Vice President Kamala Harris's motorcade, basically this past Friday evening while she was in San Francisco. Now, local news was reporting that a San Francisco police officer had to manually drive the Waymo vehicle out of the way. Remember, this is an autonomous vehicle, so no human driver in it. Now, Waymo has not yet responded to publications' questions, including what went wrong on the back end and how the vehicle was stalled before the police officer moved it out of the way. Now, this is not the first time, for the record, that Waymo autonomous vehicles have come under fire for these types of malfunctions. Earlier this year, 6 Waymos blocked a freeway ramp in San Francisco after one of them stalled, and San Francisco residents had to deal with a nightly honkathon at one of the company's parking lots. Waymo also recalled its software after a robotaxi hit a telephone pole, hopefully with nobody in the taxi. Federal regulators are now investigating tens of reports of robotaxis crashing or potentially violating traffic safety laws. In other words, these things have not really been up to snuff, but here we are. But this actually really introduces, I think, something that's rather interesting. Now, we've seen remote car hacking before. Basically a few years back, actually before the pandemic, 2 cybersecurity researchers were able to basically hijack a Jeep Grand Cherokee, have it slam on the brakes on a test track, all that kind of stuff from like a couple miles away. But when we have an autonomous vehicle here that essentially has no human driver, what happens if the software has vulnerabilities that a remote attacker is able to get into and then hijack these things? And if you've got, let's say, a vice president in town or a president in town, because again, she could very well be our president sooner than later here, if she wins the election. What happens if basically a terrorist group decides to hijack these things and essentially have them make a U-turn in front of the motorcade, thus blocking the motorcade in, allowing them basically a tight window with which to attack the beast, which is essentially what the president drives in, or is chauffeured around in, rather. So I think this is an interesting one. I think it opens up a can of worms, but quite frankly, if these things are pretty penetrable and it seems like they're not well programmed at the moment, they've had to recall them, they've hit telephone poles, they've jammed up. I've talked about this before. This would be a serious security issue to any kind of official or VIP. And it doesn't have to be a president, it could be the mayor or whoever. But the point is that this is a physical security risk that could potentially pin down, let's say, a major government official, leaving them susceptible to attack. And as hardened as things like the presidential limo is, nothing's perfect. And obviously that's not what we would want. So here we are, but I think this just basically leaves this open for all kinds of malfeasance from groups that, quite frankly, want to wish us harm. So food for thought. I'll see you next time. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.